A little earlier. Okay, y'all. We was having some technical difficulties earlier. I'm gonna give y'all a second or two to chime in. I know y'all always. I might as well just do the intro so people know it's me powering this thing, so we can get some views here. Let me just throw the intro in there real quick. I could do. Well, we'll just do this one. Show who you are. Good riddance. Is your kid and bid the forbidden? As it was written, you overbid it. With the heathens, karma is a bitch, so how you living? Pray for my enemies, I'm forgiving. Cast the pearls on hog moms and chitlin'. If it's too hot, get your ass out the kitchen. Finger licking good, good looking. Stewing in the stew, I'm cooking. You psyched out, paranoid and shookin'. Shook the table, babes, I'm booking. Get prepared for this ass whooping. Listen to the words being spoken. You were talking, I'm awake and woken. While I'm spitting this, got your spit, got choking. Era up, a glimpse in my world, eyes shut open. Parallel in my mind, I'm chosen. Reverse the time, heart frozen. Antarctica, cold as ice. Casting lots, rolling dice. Mean as nails, I'm nothing nice. They persecuted me like they rejected Christ. All right. We got a show right now. We got Melanin Gawd on the line, and we got Grant on the line, and they're about to have a little dialogue about the non-existence of God. And so Melanin Gawd, we already know who you are, so let me start with Grant. Grant, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you? Just a brief introduction.
My name is Grant Tillman, and it's pretty simple. My angle, I don't believe God does not exist. I've never seen any proof that God does not exist. I've never seen anyone provide a good argument that would prove God does not exist. That's my whole spiel.
Okay. Melanin?
Yes. Peace to the panel. Peace to everyone. Peace to all our viewers right now and people out here in the world. I like to first of all just state my position that I'm an atheist, and that I have not seen any evidence to convince me that God does exist. And so I guess that's where we're going to go from here.
Okay, go for it.
Well, we're not talking about God does exist, so you're immediately changing the topic. I suspect you know that, and that's probably your scripted stronghold. What we're talking about is your claim that God does not exist. I do not accept your claim. You are the claimant and the believer. I do not accept your claim, and I do not believe God does not exist. Would you like to start again, or?
Well, we could start actually from there.
From where? From where?
Wordology and
from where? Start from where?
We're going to start right there from your premise.
Perfect. You believe God does not exist? I don't believe you. Perfect.
Great. So we got understanding. Okay, so where I stand at, and if you don't mind, I can take it away. Or unless you like to start.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, everybody's got mine.
Okay. So where I stand at is that I have not run across any empirical evidence for the existence of the so-called historical Jesus or the mythological Jesus.
Nobody asked you for any. We're talking about why do you believe God does not exist? So
can you have some
immediately you're getting back on your script. So could you abandon your script? We're talking about God does not exist.
Okay, let me
I'm not going to speak until he's done.
Let me pause you. Okay, so
I don't believe Twinkies can fly. Are we going to talk about that, or are we going to talk about what we're talking about?
Grant, give me a second, sir.
Go on.
So for about 2 or 3 hours, these guys been going back and forth, I'm just giving people a background about this situation. So we want to put it on a panel so you guys could be the judge of what is happening. Whatever you guys hear, please, crowd participation is a must. We want to see how this is going to end. And also, I want to acknowledge the brother Mike who's on here. Hey, Mike. Mike, did you come? Okay. Well, Mike is on here also to kind of help me steer this clear, right, Mike?
Yes, I am here. How y'all doing?
We all good. We all good. So now, Melanin Gawd, Grant is saying, can you prove your belief that God does not exist? That's what he's asking.
Okay, so let me clarify without interruption, if I may.
Okay.
I'd like the opportunity to speak and get my message out clear.
I will mute the mic so that you can do that.
All right, thank you. That'd be greatly appreciated.
All right.
All right. So as we know, when we're dealing with debates such as this, really the burden of proof is not on the skeptic, because I'm not making a claim that God actually exists. What I'm saying is that when the initial question he asked me was that, do I believe that God does not exist? And my answer is yes. I don't believe that God exists for the simple fact that I do not have, and I have not run across any empirical evidence that Jesus actually exists. There's no archaeological evidence of it, and there's absolutely no eyewitness accounts of it. I've been studying this particular subject matter for well over 25 years. And what I have come up with is that we do have accounts, whether you're dealing with Tacitus, you're dealing with Josephus. These are accounts outside of the Bible now, which are not eyewitness accounts. These guys were born well after he was dead. And we're talking years after he was dead. When you deal with the actual biblical evidence, the Gospels are not eyewitness accounts. I believe that the oldest Gospel in the Bible was the book of Mark, to my knowledge. And the others kind of plagiarized off of that. But Mark was not an eyewitness account. That account was written, man, we're talking 30, 40 years later, right? So the fact that I don't have any evidence to support that, Jesus existed or any God existed, what would I have to actually stand on to say, well, yeah, I agree that God existed, or whatever. So at this point right now, my position stands as an atheist that there is no evidence for me to believe in God. But my evidence to say that I don't believe in a creator is the fact that we have, we can look into the theory of evolution. And we can look at that kind of, empirical evidence and data, and we can put that to the test against whatever belief system or data that he has. So it's not a matter of me proving that God doesn't exist. It's a matter of me standing my ground saying, well, hey, there's nothing for me to believe that God exists. And I'm going to yield right there at this time. You can mute my mic to me. Oh, shoot. Hold on, man. I'm sorry. My mic was muted all this time, right?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. I think she just muted me. I'm sorry. So go ahead, brother. It's your turn.
Can anyone hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, you can. Can anyone else hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry, my mic was.
Okay, so immediately he moved. It's called moving the goalpost. He immediately moved the goalpost to, I don't believe God does exist. So we're not talking about not believing God does exist. That's a dodge. So we're going to reset or I'm out. He believes God does not exist. So we're going to proceed from that premise or we're not going to proceed. So he believes God does not exist. I do not accept the claim God does not exist. I do not believe God does not exist. If he claims there is no evidence, I'm going to need him to prove there is no evidence. If he claims there is no eyewitness accounts, well, that's irrelevant because accounts are not eyewitnesses. If there is an eyewitness, the eyewitness is the eyewitness. Whether that eyewitness was accounted for or not doesn't mean they weren't an eyewitness. If I see somebody commit a crime and then I get hit by a car, there is no eyewitness account of me seeing someone hit by a car. That doesn't mean there wasn't an eyewitness. So I'd like to see where he's going with the no eyewitness account. But that doesn't prove there's no eyewitness. So now we've got three claims. We've got his claim, God does not exist. I don't believe that claim. I don't accept that claim. We've got a claim that there is no eyewitness account. First of all, sure. I mean, you can say that if you want. I mean, however, that doesn't prove there's no eyewitnesses. And what's the third claim? I can't remember. Oh, there's no evidence, I think. But I don't know. I can't remember all his claims. So you'd have to prove there's no evidence. If, under his own admission, you can't prove there's no evidence, we have to disregard that claim. It doesn't mean there is evidence. It means we can't be sure that there is no evidence. So here's what we got. We need proof that there's no evidence. We need proof that there's no eyewitnesses, which I don't even know what that would prove. And we need proof that God does not exist. And most of all, we need to stop moving the goalpost back to I do not believe God does exist, because that's not what we're talking about. We're specifically talking about his claim, God does not exist. In that situation, he is the only claimant. We have exactly one claimant. And I do not believe his claim. If I do not believe a claim, I am not obligated nor required to disprove his claim. The only person required to prove a claim is true is the claimant. I am not the claimant, and I am not the believer. This is all part of what I call the atheist presuppositional apologetic script. He wants to get me to prove his claims are false. We're not having that conversation. If he wants to have that conversation, he's free to accept this conversation and have it with someone else. Right now, he's claiming God does not exist. I'm saying right now, I don't believe him. That's it.
Okay. Mike, what do you have to say? Mike? Is he not
I think he's muted.
Oh, let me unmute you, Mike. Mike?
Well, first off, you have to understand that when someone says there is no evidence of something, all right, so if you're going to take an alternative stance, then you have to be the one to present that reasonable doubt, because the other person has already took a stance of saying there is no evidence to present. So in order for you, okay, the absence of evidence is the evidence of absence. So there's the proof in itself.
Prove there's an absence of evidence.
Okay, there is no evidence. That's what we've got to. Oh my God. Okay, so it's like when you're gonna have a belligerent back talk, it's no good, because
exactly. So stop doing it.
What you're actually doing is, like, I run across this stuff in nerd groups all the time, where you have DC fans and Marvel fans arguing about stuff. you have to present something to settle the dispute.
Yeah, what I'm
if
presenting is I don't believe you.
if someone says that this never happened before, if you're going to take the alternative stance, you have to present that it did happen.
I didn't take the alternative stance. I said I don't believe you. By your own admission, you said that the claimant has the burden of proof and the non-believer, which is me, has no burden of proof.
In the instance, this person has said that there is no evidence, meaning there is no proof. Oh my God. Wow, it's like talking to a wall.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Prove there's no evidence and let's get past this.
Okay, that's like saying prove there's no air. If you're not breathing, there's no air. So who are you going to prove it to?
There's many reasons why a person wouldn't breathe. Yeah, stop trying to wiggle your way out of it. Prove there's no evidence.
Oh my God, what is there to present?
Stop the oh my God. Stop.
Do you have an alternative?
I just want to say
if you do not have an alternative, go ahead, sister.
Okay, I'm gonna let y'all go for a minute. But please be respectful and let's practice some decorum and let the other one speak. Let's not do any over talking so that we can understand what's going on here.
Why don't you tell me when it's my turn to talk? Can we do that?
Yes, I will.
Perfect. Great.
So right now, Mike has the floor. So go for it, Mike.
Yeah. So when it comes to this, if you're going to take an alternative approach to debating with someone, so your whole premise in engaging with that person is to prove them wrong. So if you cannot present an alternative to what they're saying, then it's pretty much what you call either a straw man argument or a dead argument. Then there's no reason to go back and forth with, I don't believe what you're saying, if the person who already has stated that what their stance is that they do not believe in this situation. They don't believe that this event happened. They don't believe that this took place in a point of time. So if you're going to take an approach of being on the opposite side of what that individual has claimed, then you can present anything to disprove that individual's claim. But if the only approach that you're going to take is tell them to present something that they already said does not exist, then your argument itself begins to die because you have no alternative. So when you approach somebody on that, on that premises, you have to be the one to actively engage by presenting something. You have to show an alternative to say, when that person says, oh, well, Jesus didn't exist, you have to say, okay, well, I have right here a record from such and such point in time where an individual that was very closely, in resemblance to that individual existed. You have to present something. But if all you're going to say is prove that he didn't exist, then, well, the absence of that evidence speaks louder than what you just said. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, I'm sorry. I went to the restroom. Okay, Grant, what do you have to say to that?
That is called an argument from ignorance and a shifting of the burden of proof. A claim doesn't become true just because the person that doesn't believe it can't disprove it. It would be like me claiming there's plenty of evidence for God, and until he proves there isn't, it stands that there is. That's ridiculous. He's not required to prove there's not evidence if I claim there is, and I'm not required to prove there is if he claims there isn't. This is a simple, basic logic. I'm not going to sit here and go through grade school logic with a person. If he doesn't understand logic, I'll just move on. So do you understand? That the claimant has the burden of proof, and the person that doesn't believe the claim is not required to disprove the claim. Also, if I don't believe your claim, it doesn't mean that I'm saying your claim is false. I'm saying I don't believe your claim is true. If you're claiming your claim is true, I need proof that your claim is true. I'm not claiming that it's false. I'm claiming you haven't provided evidence to support your claim is true. This is all very basic logic. So we need to get past this part before we can continue. Do you understand that much?
Okay, yeah. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this thing, right? Melanin Gawd. Let me take you off of mute, brother. It won't let me unmute you. Oh, there you
No,
go.
I'm here. I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay, so now, do we have any research that you've done in the past, present, future to make you come to the final decision that God doesn't exist? If you do, let me mute. I'm gonna mute the rest of y'all while I'm talking. So if you do, please let me know where to go, where to search, where to find it, so I can bring up this proof on the screen.
Okay. So let me go ahead and dive in this, and I'm gonna dig in this boy chest real quick. Right. So okay, let's deal with the biblical evidence right now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you something practical, logic and reason. Right. It's recorded that Jesus raised 3 people from the dead, recording in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yet those 3 people never showed up at his trial, his execution. And so you have to ask yourself, what would they fear? If he raised them from the dead, why would they fear the Romans? Why would they fear anything that they would say in regard to Jesus? Right? Okay. So Lazarus, for instance, and the other 2 that's not named, they would have showed up. They would have showed out for Jesus because he raised them from the dead. Yet that's not recorded. Those would have been eyewitness accounts. Those would have been people that Jesus actually performed a miracle on. So think about this way. I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper into that, because here's the thing: when you're dealing with something to that magnitude, these people actually died, and he raised them from the dead. What fear would they have had of anyone else that's mortal? Yet they didn't. They didn't show up. They didn't speak upon. They didn't do nothing for his defense. Okay, we're gonna deal with some more biblical evidence. His disciples, they were full of fear, yet they seen all his miracles. The only person that actually spoke up or tried to come to defense was what? Simon Peter? Or what was his name? Peter? Got his ear cut off, according to the Bible?
He cut someone else's ear off.
Oh, he cut someone. I'll take that back. He cut someone else's ear off. But my point is this: if these accounts were actual, like factual, let's put this in realistic terms here. Just so, like, I died, Meika, and you revived me from death. Now somebody's trying to kill you. Do you think I wouldn't defend you? Why would I not fear? Why would I fear death? If you had the power to raise me from death.
Well, did Jesus die?
It's a hypothetical. Listen, this question is really not directed towards you. It's just to get the audience to think about this, right?
Right, I understand, but I'm asking you this question: did Jesus die in the same region that he helped those people to live? Like, was he in the same area?
Well, what we're looking at is we're looking at a radius, right? We're looking at geographical radius. And the stories of the Bible, they don't take place in a wide range of places of the world. They really don't. They didn't have cars back then. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that if Jesus was this major famous person that was known for doing all these miracles, feeding 5,000 with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, raising the dead, you know what I mean, making a blind see, you mean to tell me not one person could stop him from getting his ass beat and being nailed to 2 pieces of goddamn wood and dying? We got to make this thing make sense.
Mhm.
And so I think we lost Grant. I think he got off.
Greg fell off. Greg, if you're watching or whatever, jump back on if you can.
Oh man, listen, he's gonna run from his ass whooping because I'm about to give him the evidence that he what a non-evidence that he's asking for. There is not one eyewitness account. You cannot count Tacitus.
But
You
let me
cannot
ask you
count.
this. Let me ask you
Hold
this.
on, sis. Don't cut me off. You cannot count Tacitus. You cannot count Josephus because they were born well after he died. We're talking some time. Well, a great deal of time after he died, right? And then the as far as the Gospels is concerned, like I said, the earliest account will be the Gospel of Mark, which the others plagiarized off of, and that was still not a eyewitness account because it was written 30, 40 years after he died. So the point I'm trying to make to this guy is that the absence of evidence is enough evidence for me not to believe. My whole point is that there's no archaeological evidence, there's no eyewitness accounts. What we have is a story written in a book by goat herders that didn't even know where the sun went at night. They had no knowledge of where the stars went or what stars are. They had no knowledge of where the sun went at night. So at the end of the day, what they were dealing with was primitive knowledge of the universe. And my whole point is this, and this is where I'm going to slam it. This is where I'm going to slam it right now. All concepts of gods, goddesses, or any kind of deities comes from the imagination of men.
Mm-hmm.
There is no God that has ever wrote a book, and there's no God that has ever in the history of the world that has verified one religion over the other. You do realize there's over 4,000 religions in the world today. So my whole premise is that if you're going to hold this position that Jesus actually existed, what makes that the right religion based upon man's interpretation? What makes it? Your belief is no different than people that believes in the flying spaghetti monster. And I'm just going to keep that real. There's nothing outside of this, outside of what your doctrine teaches you that makes it an absolute fact. There's nothing. So at the end of the day, he did right by running off the call, which I expected him to do because this wasn't going to go the way once he started seeing the comments, I knew he was going to run. There's no way you can challenge me to my disbelief to say, well, prove why you disbelieve. There's the absence of evidence. It's plain and simple. It's over with. At this point, what he should be doing is putting forth evidence to make me convinced of what he believes in. It's not for me to search out the information to now become a believer. The onus is not on me. The burden of proof is on him. And so if this was a court of law right now, and what he has is nothing but hearsay, then throw that shit out. Any of y'all, I want y'all all to chime in. If you was going to court right now and you was being tried for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you or would you not allow hearsay to convict you, or would you want solid proof? That's the bottom line. And I yield right there.
Okay, so if we were in a court of law, it'll be up to the prosecution to prove me to be guilty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess he feels like you're the prosecution and you have to prove that God doesn't exist. But I did a Google search. I'm just gonna show it. About, and Mike, you could go ahead and talk and do your spiel if you like. All right, let me unmute your mic, Mike. Tell me, Mike.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So I did a Google search. The evidence God don't exist, right? And it says, does science disproves the existence of God? And it says science doesn't have the processes to prove or disprove the existence of God. You know,
Yeah, but we haven't brought in sciences yet. We haven't even brought in sciences yet.
right. And then
Because
it
we do
says,
know the theory of evolution is both fact and theory. But we're not talking about just a theory. We're talking about scientific theory. And I think people need to understand what scientific theory is. It's a well substantiated um, body of evidence, man, that explains the natural phenomena of nature.
mm,
That can be tested and proven over and over and over again.
I think one of his major flaws is that he wasn't really in full understanding of what he was actually getting himself into when it came to that topic. So it's just like, he it's one of the things where he kind of chose a dead end argument to be his stance, and all he was wanting to do is it's kind of like, taking someone to jail and expecting them, what I'm saying, to interrogate themselves. It's just like, if I tell you that, I didn't commit the crime, but, I got falsely arrested and accused of it anyway, then I still got to go through the whole process of proving myself innocent. But, what I'm saying, proving yourself innocent doesn't mean that, because you can't present evidence that you weren't at the crime scene, right? So you have to prove that you were somewhere else, what I'm saying, at that point in time. But he wasn't really, I said, trying to let somebody else drive your point home but not making the point, that becomes a dead end, because what you're doing there is just gaslighting the person, because you have nothing to present yourself, and saying you're just banking on the other person just having nothing.
okay, so you think that because he was debating, saying that he doesn't believe Melanin Gawd on his stance that God doesn't exist, that he should have brought evidence of God existing?
He even said it for himself. His whole thing was, I don't believe what you're saying, so I
Make
mean,
me
it's
believe.
like he could have tried to make any case, just to make a reasonable sound argument or something.
Mm,
But if your whole point is going to be just to object to somebody else's objection,
mm.
then saying you'll be here all day with that.
Well,
Right.
let me chime in on this one real quick, because what happens is in these situations is that a lot of times people use the God of the gaps, right?
Mm,
And so what happens is what you don't understand about natural phenomena, what you don't understand about the natural world, you just attribute it to God. God did it. Well, see, I got news for folks. It's now 2023. We have science and technology that has advanced. And so people are no longer running to religion for answers. We have the answers at our fingertips, right? We're walking around with computers in our pockets and in our hands. And so
mm,
when we're dealing with these certain things and certain topics, um, a lot of the answers can be explained with empirical evidence and data that has not been refuted. So when I talk about evolution, I want people to understand that evolution is not only theory, but it's also facts. And so you just can't outrule it. My thing is that there's a lack of evidence for a supreme creator. And I'm gonna deep dive in this real quick, if I may. If we had a supreme creator and this intelligent
mm.
design, then we wouldn't have birth defects. We would not absolutely we would not have a world full of organisms that has to eat other organisms in order to survive, dead or alive. See what I'm saying? We're organisms, whether you realize it or not, and we eat food that's either dead or alive to survive. We're looking for the energy to keep us, to sustain us, right? So that doesn't sound intelligent to me at all. The thing is, and then we have to also look at the universe. At any moment, an asteroid could actually enter our atmosphere and rock this whole goddamn planet, and life would never be the same again. And we know the probability of that. It's also a good probability that the black hole can open up, which could be the size of a peach, and suck this whole earth in. And so with those factors going into it, there couldn't possibly be intelligent design. So I need people to understand where I'm coming from with this. I'm an atheist for a reason, because a lack of evidence. If you know what burns me up is you get a lot of believers that say, "Oh, God blesses me, God answers my prayers." But what about some of these countries, man, that are completely impoverished, right?
Mm.
All right, so we could look at some of these, and I can show y'all one country right now. Um, I'm gonna see if I could do it without losing the link to this. I'm on the iPhone, but I'm not that tech savvy, but I'm
Well,
getting
no,
it.
just tell me the link and I'll go look it up myself. That way,
Okay, so look up the world's poorest country in the world that are Christian, that's predominantly Christian. Okay,
Mm.
and those people, up to 75% to 90% of them are believers in this particular God of the Bible. And so you mean to tell me us spoiled ass people in America is getting blessings over them? You got innocent children dying. They're starving. They're dehydrated, right? They're being exploited. And so at the end of the day, you mean tell me God gonna answer your selfish ass prayers as an adult over children? I don't think so. I don't think so. What kind of God would do that if they had the same belief as you? Their worship is no different than yours. What puts you on a much higher standing? You utter some words that makes this abracadabra now, and God answers you and not them? I don't think so. These are innocent children we're talking about. And so we got to get serious about this thing.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I'm not challenging anyone right now on the call, because the brother, the guy got off the call. Listen, he put his skates on real fast because he realized he didn't swim out in deep water, bro.
I don't know if this is him, but I think this is him on YouTube. If I'm not, Parmesan be praised, he said.
No. That's actually my YouTube handle.
Oh,
When he said that about the spaghetti monster being God, I said Parmesan be praised.
oh, okay. Oh,
I got you, Mike. That's why when I said the spaghetti monster, I was laughing at that when it said Parmesan be praised. You know what I'm saying? Because trust me, we gonna sup that sauce, right? We gonna sup that sauce. That's the blood of our life, and those noodles is our DNA strands, right? They got a whole philosophy behind that, by the way. I like y'all to look into Pastafarians. It's an actual religion, and it's a new age religion. I believe to mock the bullshit that's going on, but it makes perfect sense. My whole thing is that when we really get down to the meat and potatoes of this shit, you know what I mean, and we could put a little salt and pepper on it and slice and dice it. The truth is that what gives you as a believer, right? You believe this God is love. He loves you. He loves the world. He just wants you to obey. What gives you the right to say that these people ain't obeying? What about these innocent children? They are obeying. They're only being taught what they know, and they believe in the God you believe in. So what would give you the inclination that They're not saying the open sesame just like you. This is stupid. It's wrong. It's arrogant. It's self-absorbent. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's foolishness at the end of the day. And don't get me wrong. I'm getting ready to switch this whole shift in a minute because we're gonna look at Israel in a minute. And I'm telling y'all right now, this ain't gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. Because if there really was a God, all he has to do is tell the world hello, and all this confusion will end. That's it.
Hey, that would change a
Simple as
lot of
that.
folks' minds. I mean, if aliens showed up and I mean, it would undoubtedly be the one thing to make a lot of people believe in or just seeing it. So, I mean, same principle.
Let me ask y'all this. Why do you guys think that so many people believe that there is a God?
I believe that a lot of people are actually caught up in the promise of heaven, of an afterlife. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the one thing that really gets to people because if you look at it, you have a lot of people there in the poorest areas of the world, and you know what I'm saying, they really believe in God. They get caught up in the, you know what I'm saying, the good hope preacher, the one that teach prosperity and stuff, and you know, and so I believe it's more about that some people have just got caught up in believing there's going to be a reward for their faith, just suffering through it.
Well, I promise y'all this. If y'all know anything about me, man, I'm a metaphysical mastermind. And I have studied the original Bible, which holds 84 books, as opposed to the 66 that most people read. And that particular Bible comes out of Ethiopia, which tells a whole different story than the shit people read today. What they read today comes out of the Church of England. And I don't give a damn what nobody, they can argue that point all they want. But when you got the earliest scriptures like that, if you understand the language, right? The Ethiopian language, and my parents are actually from the Amhara tribe, so I understand the language. That it's spelled GE apostrophe EZ, but they speak the Amharic language, which is a Semitic language. Don't get me wrong; that does not make us Israelites or nothing like that. It's a language, right? So what I'm saying is that we have to really get down to it. And the thing is, anytime you have these early accounts that tells a whole different tale than what you're reading today, man, what do you do with that? You just throw it away because somebody else says, "Oh, well, these are not inspired books." Well, wait a minute. On what authority do you have to say that? I ain't known for no God to crack the sky and say, "Get rid of these books." You know, and in those particular books that they got rid of, a lot of it comes out of the teachings of Kemet, and then a lot of teachings come out of you know, a time when they were in captivity in Babylonia. Um, you know, you're dealing with a Phoenician text and things like that. These are borrowed stories that they put together, and sometimes they exaggerate it. So, for instance, like the Great Flood story. Oh man, I can't wait to take that live because it's impossible for a worldwide flood. You don't have enough groundwater. You don't have enough water on the earth to flood the goddamn whole earth. It's impossible scientifically and mathematically. And so some people say, well, there's no limit to what God can do. My question is, prove it. See, this is where the guy ran off at because he knows he can't prove this God exists in the first place to even challenge me. You see what I'm saying? If I'm telling you right now, I don't believe God exists, but you're saying God exists, well, then the onus is on you. Give me empirical evidence that God actually exists. And we're not gonna limit it to Jesus. We can shut that down. How about his father?
I was gonna ask that next because why do we have to prove the existence of Jesus to prove the existence of God?
Well, he's supposedly supposed to be the son of God. So if he's the son of God, well, why can't you prove his father? If you can't prove him, then how you gonna prove his father? But I got news. I got news for you guys out here in the world. I got something for y'all. I want y'all to look at the word Israel. And you got to go back to the Canaanite pantheon. And when you look at the Canaanite pantheon, the ending of the word Israel, right, is El. El was the most high of that Canaanite pantheon. And Sophia was his consort. Yahweh was actually one of their children. Now we could deep dive into the Gnostic teachings, which you could find that, which they found that, in Kemet, and you can find that in the Ethiopic Bible. No cap. I won't lie to y'all. I have no reason to. But my point is that for some reason all this shit was cut out, right? And so when we really get down to it and we deal with the information, it must be understood that there's a reason why they cut this out. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the Church of England had a great part of that. They decided what was going to be in that damn Bible and what wasn't. And you also got to look at the Nicene Council, right? There wasn't just one Nicene Council of 325. There were several. There were several councils. And so now what you're looking at is a progressive process of how things got distorted and taken away. So in other words, man basically gave what they wanted you to have today. So the truth is, most people, and I say this, most people in America, their primary language is English. They don't know Greek. They don't know Arabic. They don't know Hebrew. If they do know Hebrew today, what they really understand of it is actually what they would call Yiddish, because they don't speak Hebrew. They speak Yiddish. And when it's, oh man, if you really get back to the basics, how many people understands the language of the original of Ethiopia? No one does. Not, at least not in the Western world. And I got news for folks. The Christians of Ethiopia, they don't believe this garbage that people believe over here in America. They don't. So it's an innermost journey of what they believe or what they know to be true. They strive for Christ consciousness. So at the end of the day, it makes me think about it that all religions are true, right? Let me say this carefully. All religions are true to the individual because all religions are created in the imagination of man. So what I imagine can be very well true to me. Maybe not true to somebody else, but you have to understand that Bible was written for those people at that time. And we also have to understand that it's not divinely inspired because clearly they didn't know what stars were and they didn't even know where the sun went at night.
Okay, so Melanin Gawd, I gotta stop you right quick because everything that you said, everything that you said, I can definitely provide evidence, scripture, archaeological evidence, everything. So it's kind of like I'm trying to be like unbiased, let you get your spill out, but it's tough for me to listen to because I know different, you know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you this, Mika. I don't want to cut you off. I'm just saying,
Mhm.
according to even the Hebrew word scriptures, and even according to the Christian updated scriptures, this comes out of Church of England, we
Mhm.
understand that the supreme God is a non-physical being, right?
Okay. I mean, I'm
Okay.
not going to agree
So
or
so
disagree with that because that okay. First, okay, let's just go back just a little bit, right? When you said in Ethiopia, they don't believe that. That's false. They definitely have a strong belief in the presence of God. Secondly, um, the ideology of religion does not come from Europe. And if you know or if you deal with and
well,
delve into,
I didn't state that. I didn't state that. I want
you
to be
said
clear. I
come
didn't
from
say that the
Europe.
ideology of religion comes from Europe.
Uh-huh.
But what I'm saying is that what you get presented present day in your King James version Bibles and all these different translations is the
Mhm.
interpretation of the Church of England.
Well,
And so,
see. So when you say that, right, I can even go into a historical spiel on that and why because when you say the Church of England and all that, I can go historically and debunk that as well. But I'm not gonna do that here.
no. I welcome it. I welcome it because I have books out right now that I can cite from, and I can show and prove my premise, where my stance is, and I'm not challenging you to a debate per se. But
Uh,
what I'm saying is that there's a lot of uncovered information that a lot of people just either have not looked into or they just simply ignore.
mm-hmm,
And the truth is that most people's interpretation of what they see as the Bible today and their particular faction of faith has been altered and distorted over time.
mm-hmm,
You're not getting the original. You're not. Okay,
mm-hmm,
so what I'm saying is that when we really deep dive into this one, this is where it really gets deep. It really gets deep because you have to understand what happened. We have to look at actual historical events. What was actually physically removed, and why did they do it? They did it for the fact that it contradicted what their agenda was, right? And so even when you look at the King James Bible that come out in 1611, okay, that was meant for, the Church of England, yet it was used here in Americas to justify imperialism and slavery. That's something we can't get around because the first thing they handed people was a slave Bible. They omitted a lot of scriptures because they was in fear that it would cause a rebellion. People can absolutely identify with those scriptures, and it may cause a rebellion. That's why they did it.
Okay, so let's not confuse the slave Bible with the 1611 King James Version Bible. Those two different Bibles.
Right, but the 1611 King James Version Bible is not correct. I can tell you right now, if we put the Ethiopic Bible up against that, you're gonna be shocked.
Okay, so I
It
do
reads
know.
totally different.
Okay, do it.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Let me see if I can share that to the chat, and then maybe you can present it on a thing. And I'm gonna look for a translation
Let me see.
because it's written in the Ethiopic language of Ajis, right? Which is pretty close to Amharic. Um, and with that being said, let me do that right now. Let me see if I can accomplish that for you. I should be able to do this right off of Safari, right? or should I
I
go
don't
through
know if you
Google?
can share your screen, so let me see what I can do here. Let me see here.
Because I could go off Google.
Okay, so
Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna share the English translation, which is really like a misnomer because it's wrong, and I can tell you that I know it's wrong because I know Amharic. Um, I've heard it my entire life, and this is something that I actually, my parents, they speak the language. Uh, Let me see here.
okay, I got the
Okay, now I can copy it. I got it. I got it. So let me go into the chat. No, not the private chat. I want to put this publicly. How I do that? Because I want people to be able to really get this. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to Okay, hold on. Here we go. Well, this is a private chat.
Okay, so here we go. So let me just show you something because there's a difference between the King James Version Bible versus
Hmm.
the King James Bible. I mean,
Well, yeah,
it's a difference between the
there's
1611. Hold on. There's a difference between the 1611 King James Version Bible versus just the King James Version. So
hmm
the King James Version has 66 books. The 1611 King James Bible has 80 books. The Ethiopic Bible has 84 books.
That's right.
Okay. So let's just put that information out there. Um um
The original Bible, which was the Ethiopic Bible, what you're going to find is that it's not traditional Christianity that you see in the Western world. It's more of Gnosticism. If anything
okay, so
else,
the Tanakh
if
is
nothing
not
else. Which
the
is
Tanakh is the original, not the Ethiopian. Hello.
It
Hello.
sounded like you were breaking up.
Okay. Me and you went over this in the show we did, where we talked about the Tanakh and the Septuagint, and we went over the Bible timeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we went over those things already, but it's okay to me. Grant is messaging me, and he said, ask him to Google logical fallacies and study them. When he has a firm grasp on logical fallacies, I'll be more than willing to have a discussion with him. Also,
Okay.
oh, he said he doesn't mind having the discussion with me directly, so he don't see a point in coming back. All right. Well, I was supposed to be shooting a video today.
Oh, today?
Yeah, I'm supposed to shoot a video. Remember, I told you I'm supposed to shoot a video for All Night Riders. If you guys haven't checked out the page for All Night Riders, please go check out the All Night Riders page on Facebook. That's a group that I help with production and stuff.
Thank you.
Uh, this person says the Catholic Bible got more damn books than the King. So
That
funny.
is true.
The Catholic Bible is the Vulgate Bible. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
but see,
Vulgate
you got to
Bible.
understand. You got to understand something. And this is what I keep trying to explain to people. Unless you actually reading from the uh, unless you're reading from the original text, what you're getting is what they chose to give you, and I don't
Okay.
care if you call yourself Hebrew. I don't care if you call yourself a Christian that don't believe in that particular denomination of
Wait a
Catholicism
minute,
or whatever.
Melanin. Hold
They,
on, Melanin, 'cause I want
they,
to address this brother
they,
real quick before you get that out. Okay, so the Catholic Vulgate Bible has 76 books. I mean 78 books in it. Okay. And like I said, there is a difference between the 1611 King James Version Bible versus the King James Version Bible. The 1611 has 80 books in it, and the Vulgate has 78 books in it, and the Ethiopian Bible has 84 books in it. So go ahead, Melanie. I'm sorry. I just wanted to address that. Go. Melanie God. Did we lose him again? Yeah.
Oh, I think he might be connected to his Bluetooth. Probably the speaker coming on in this
and
car.
you know, Jermaine Jackson Senior in here, since he got so much to say, because you know what, uh, he said if you don't believe in God, your information is BS. And my thing is this. I'm still waiting on this empirical evidence that God actually exists. I'm still waiting on it. In fact, I'm gonna open the floor. I challenge anybody to that.
Listen, the belief in God isn't necessary to, or the belief in any one particular God isn't actually necessary to move forward in life. I mean, you still have a number of isolated tribes that exist around the world today that want absolutely nothing to do with what we call civilization, and
Exactly.
yet they exist. You know what I'm saying? They are perfectly fine on their own.
And they
I
live in
mean,
harmony and peace. They live in harmony and peace, bro.
they don't have
Yeah.
to deal with war, violence. I mean, no rape, none of that.
I mean, they still live primitive, but they're in peace. They ain't nobody, you know, as long as ain't nobody bothering them, they'll be fine.
Um, you know, well, for me, right, when I look at the sky, when I look at the trees, when I look at the ocean, just when I look at all the amazing things, when I look at you, when I look at me, to me, that's my evidence that there is an existence of God. You know, even when I gave birth and pushed my babies out, like that right there was amazing. So to me, to each their own, with
Well,
that.
watch this, Mika. On the flip side, um, my son was 4 months old and he died what they call SIDS,
Uh-huh.
sudden infant death syndrome. And they couldn't even explain to me how my son died. What they told me was bullshit. They said that he basically fell asleep and forgot how to breathe, right?
Hmm.
Uh, man, any God that would allow that,
Okay, he went out again. So
I'm saying,
no, you went out because you said any God that would allow that, and then I didn't hear the rest.
well, I had children after him.
Uh-huh.
I had children after him. So any God, you know what I mean? My thing is, how would a God allow that to happen? Okay, my one particular son is now deceased, but then I had children after that.
Hmm.
And like I said, he died of SIDS. The
David's son,
explanation they
David's son was born dead. And you know why David's son was born dead?
you tell me.
Well, he put a soldier in the front line, to take his wife.
So
So
are you telling me that me and my ex did something wrong for our son to die? Because we had children after that.
yeah, sometimes it be like that.
Oh,
He
Meika,
had children
come on
after
now.
that. I'm saying no, no,
We
no.
didn't do nothing
Just,
wrong.
let me give you an example, right? Because what it says that I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting scripture verbatim, but it says that how's it go? We deal with the sins of our fathers, our forefathers, like we bear the sins of our forefathers. Okay, so let me just give you an example, right?
Hey, look, Jermaine Jackson, add him to this panel, man, please, because he mouthing off, and I don't think he's ready for the level of scrutiny I'm going to give him. I'm not blaming God for anything because I don't believe in God. My
Okay,
whole
wait a
point
minute.
is, is that things happen. There's children that's born with birth defects. Um, there's children. There's a whole lot of things that proves that intelligent design is not intelligent.
Okay, now that goes back to the sins of the father, of the mother and the father, right? So a lot of birth defects happen because what the parents, the mother, because I know this for sure, like might have took some type of medication that supposedly was good. I've seen it happen on a couple of people in my family where the mothers took like some type of prenatal vitamins or whatever, and then also because of inbreeding, uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, what do you call it? Uh, 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 what do you call it when family members have babies together? Incest. I couldn't think of the word.
Incest, yeah. Well, that's never happened in my family.
Huh?
Well, that's
No,
that's that, that's not happening in my family.
no, I never had incest in my family, but I was talking about like medication, taking medications while pregnant, drinking, smoking, and no telling what's and see, you're a man, so you don't know what your mom might be doing while she's pregnant. And then to uh like say for instance, okay, there's a mom and she has some children and she's working all the time, right? And she's not nurturing the child because her natural nature is to nurture the child. That's her God given nature to nurture the child. But she's always working and she's not nurturing and nurturing the child, and she's always going out partying and stuff, and she leaving her child somewhere else. So then that's when her sin is falling on the children because now the children are open to predators or whatever, and it could be the closest person to them. So you see what I'm
Well,
saying?
let me give you a backdrop. Let me give you a backdrop on this. At least a backstory so you can understand where I'm coming from.
Mm,
At that particular time, my son Delane, my ex-wife, she, I was put it this way. I worked two jobs at that time.
mm,
She was a stay-at-home mom.
mm,
No problem with that. They, of course, they tested her for drugs and everything else because they wanted to see what could be any determining factor of why our child died. You get what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm,
Listen, that woman didn't even smoke cigarettes. She didn't
mm.
drink. She had no history of nothing like the obvious reasons that you mentioned prior in
Like
her
she never
family.
took any type of prenatal vitamins or anything.
Well, don't get me wrong, she did take prenatal vitamins, but here's the thing: that was not a contributing factor to his death.
How do you
And
know?
and so what I'm saying is that um well, I know that because she had got tested for it.
Did she
We
breastfeed
trust
the
me,
child?
we pushed for it because of course this is our child.
Did she
We want to know.
breastfeed?
I'm sorry.
Did she breastfeed?
Yes, she did.
Uh, and
Yes, she
so,
did. She didn't.
so
So she wasn't on no like Similac or Enfamil or nothing like that.
mm, mm.
Trust me, man. I mean, everything was exactly how it's supposed to be. But
Okay, and did you
my
still
point
have
is,
this?
hold on.
Uh,
Before you go forward, before you go forward, we end up having another child. Which the same process, nothing changed. It was the same and that my son is alive today. He's
So
22 years old.
so those were
And
two
I also
boys.
have a
The first one was a
24
boy,
year
and
old.
the first one was the boy, and the second one was a boy. Correct?
Well, all three of them was boys.
Uh,
I had one boy that just he passed away, and they had no explanation for it. Which don't get me wrong, that did something to me. I won't get into all that. Uh, but it sent me on a spiral effect. You know what I mean?
mm,
And because it just I couldn't understand. You know, I couldn't understand like why me. You know, and so eventually, as me being an atheist, I had to look at life on a different level, and I said, well, why not me? Right? I'm not gonna sit there and play the victim of things. I just realized this is just
oh,
life.
this was the bad one.
This is
I
just
don't know why.
life. Because if we look back in history, infant mortality was a challenge. For the ancestors and things like that. There was a lot of children that passed away. That man, that you know what I'm saying. They were born, of course, and they lived for some time, and then they never grew up to be adults. So my thing is that if there is a great God out here, you're out here. This God is blessing others, but you won't preserve these children that's innocent. But you will bless somebody that has failed you. Come on, man. We all know it. Ain't
How
nobody
do we
perfect
know
in
that
life.
it's a blessing? So you can't say that that is a blessing unto other
Well, wait a minute.
people.
Wait a minute. You walking and breathing, and Mika, you can't tell me your life been perfect. You have never walked a perfect stride for God. You
No,
can't
I
tell me
have
that.
not watched nothing perfect, and I
So
still
that's what
have
I'm
to.
saying. These
Do
children
you
are innocent. They don't
do
even
you
know.
believe? Okay, okay, you don't believe the existence of God, but do you believe in the you reap what you sow?
Well,
Uh,
that's
I'm asking you a question.
well, wait a minute. Wait a minute, because what you're suggesting is that I did something wrong for my child to die, or she did something wrong.
I'm asking you a question. Do you believe? I didn't say you did anything wrong. See. Let me tell you something. I was married before, right? Not this husband, but my previous husband, and I was married to him for about
This is my
oh
second
10,
marriage too.
about 10, what 20, some a long time. Okay, I can't remember how long I was married, but I was with him for a very long time too. And this man, and I didn't go to church. I didn't like church. I hated church or whatever. He always wanted me to go to church all the time. And he was the most vicious, the most evil person I ever met on this earth. Okay. And I didn't know for a long time how evil and vicious this man was. And I was in a marriage with him, and I thought he was a godly man. I thought he
Hmm.
was a godly man. This man was doing drugs. This man was sleeping with every woman he brought in my face. So I'm saying that to say, even if you didn't, and I'm not trying to put this on your woman or the woman you had the baby by or whatever, but I'm saying you think you know a person and you really don't. So if even if you didn't do anything, if you didn't do anything, maybe she did.
Mama,
What, son?
is them sweets yours?
Well, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question because I don't know if you've ever been in this particular setting before, um, but both of my children's mothers, I was the man that break their virginity, and I knew them women very well. I knew their parents. Their parents knows me. Still this day, their family hold the most utmost respect for me, right? And I'm not saying that our life was perfect, but at the end of the day, I knew what they were capable of, and things like that. All I'm saying is that it would be wrong for me to sit here and assume that they did something to disrespect God when they had it. I was always an atheist, right? But they're
And the fact that you was an atheist could be that very reason why it happened.
oh man, come on, Meika. You telling
I'm
me
just
me
saying,
being an
I'm just
atheist
putting
is
it out there. I have to put it out
oh
there.
man.
The
See,
fact,
and this is the problem I have with believers. This is the problem I have with believers. Because don't get me wrong, there's people out here fucking murdering people and been getting away with it for years. Yet nothing happens. And listen,
how
look
do
at
you know
Emmett Till.
nothing
Hold on. Stop. Look at Emmett Till. That woman walked free until she died. You mean to tell me that God wouldn't punish that woman over me being an atheist?
See, this is crazy because how do you know she wasn't? How do you know that she wasn't punished?
No, but she wasn't. She walked
How do
around
you
this. She
know
walked
that?
around free. Look at what's his name? Zimmerman. They killed Trayvon Martin.
Hmm.
You think anything happened to him? That man
See,
still
here's the
walking
thing.
around free.
You don't know the torment that a person is walking through if you're not walking in it. You don't know if that person is being tormented, tortured, mentally torn down. You don't know what that person is going through. You just
I'm
see
just
them
saying.
alive.
I'm
Sometimes the
just
Most
saying.
High will keep a person alive to cause them to suffer. Sometimes the Most High will give them so much suffering, and you will never know it because you're not in that suffering with them.
I'm
So
just
you
saying.
can't say that they did not suffer. You
I'm
can't say
saying.
they
What,
didn't
what you're
have their
giving me,
hard time.
what you're giving me is speculation.
What you're giving me is
It's
speculation because you think they not suffering. I'm saying there is a possibility that they are suffering.
Yeah, but there's no proof that anything is
There's
making them
no proof
suffer.
that they're suffering or not suffering. So we can't speak on what they're going through. We can only speak on what we go through. We don't know what they're going through.
All
You get
right, so
what I'm
let me take it a deeper level then. Okay, so I spoke on the poorest country in the world,
saying? Uh-huh. I put
right?
that okay. I pulled it up at one point. I forgot to share it.
It's
Go ahead.
called the name of the country is called starts with a B. I'm sorry.
That's Bagandi or something like that, huh?
You know what I'm talking about, right? And majority, the vast majority of that country is believers in God.
Okay, and the
You mean
Bible
to
says
tell,
the meek shall inherit the earth. So
oh come on, so you mean to tell me we got to die just to inherit the earth?
everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die.
Well, that's listen. Come on now, come
Hey,
on
I
now.
have to do
Let's
this. You
get
know I have
let's
to
get
do
to it.
it. I know I have
Let's
to do it.
let's get to it on that one because at the end of the day, um, that sounds to me like somebody's controlling the narrative and not some God. I can't
Look,
see some
Lucifer is
all
on
knowing.
your side. He said this is
Well,
ridiculous.
hold on. Matter of fact, let me put your logic to the test right quick. Because if God is all knowing, He's omnipotent and all that, right?
Mhm.
Well, then He knew He created me to be a non-believer. So
Mhm.
then why would He turn around and punish my seed for creating me the way that He
Okay.
designed me to be?
So
That makes no sense.
basically, right? This is how. Oh God, this is why I told. Remember, Mike, we were talking, and I said, read that book, Convoluted Universe, Convoluted Universe.
Hmm.
So now this gonna get deep. Okay, so basically, right, you have choices, which is called free will, right? And these choices, every time you have a choice, there's a split in reality, right? There's a split. So it depending on your choice, this will be the result, right? So this is how we have these multi-dimensional ideologies, right? So you could have chose to be by a God believer, and then there was a predestined path that way. But you chose to be a non-believer, so then there's a predestined path that way. So it's all about free will and the choices that we make. You get what I'm saying? Did I make it clear? Because I don't want to go too deep into it. Hello? Caller, are you listening?
I'm here.
So, y'all seen the multiverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is theoretic. Yeah. This has to do with he said quantum management. uh, this has to do with that's the thing called string theory and all that stuff. So,
Well, string theory is not. It's not an
this is
accredited.
theoretical. It's not another fact behind it or whatever. But have you ever made a choice, right? And you was like, damn, I wish I would have chose different. I know it's been like even on the smallest thing like food, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
like it's the choices that you made, and and he's all seeing and all powerful, but he sees every choice that you make, if you decide to make those choices. So
But hold on. This is the part I'm trying to. This is the point I'm trying to make. He already seen this before I was born.
okay, he's seen multiple choices. Like say he had multiple choices, so he saw all of them. You only saw this one because
No, but
it's
he already knew the outcome.
no. He knew the outcome of all the possible choices that you could have made. He gave you the free will to make those choices, and he knew the outcome of all the possible choices you would make. You only know the outcome of this one. He knows the outcome of all the different possibilities. Do you understand that?
That's it. That's interesting, sis.
Somebody said, why you say that? It says if the milk could talk, it would say, save me. I'm about to go back. I don't know what that means, Jermaine, but it's funny.
Hey, and look, I just want to put this out there for clarification because I want our viewers.
Oh, here's a better understanding. Butterfly effect. Have you seen the butterfly effect?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, something like that.
All right, so look, let me say it this way. I want to put this out there for our viewers to understand. First of all, is that we are a complete think tank out here, right?
Right.
So in no way is we trying to eat each other alive or not like that.
No,
We
but I
just
have
trying
to
to.
antagonize you a bit.
Well, we got to put each other under certain scrutiny, right? It's only right. I mean, I can't put other people under scrutiny if I don't put my own people under scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? And I have nothing against the believer. I have something against the judgments that believers give for their God because you don't know. You really don't know. You get what I'm saying? So for somebody to say, well, maybe you did something wrong. Well, how do you know that?
Let me ask you
You,
this.
you know what I'm saying? Like you're not with me. You're not with me every day, and you don't you haven't been up with me through my upbringing or nothing like that. So there's no way you can make that kind of statement. Well, maybe you did something wrong. You feel me?
I mean, I can make that statement. Maybe. I ain't saying that you did. It's a
But
possibility.
you're assuming at that point though. You're
It's
assuming you can't
I'm
assume
not.
the mind of God, right?
I'm not assuming anything. I'm just begging the question. However, there is a scripture where a person was born. Let me find the scripture. And I think Peter asks, "Did he do something in his past life?" This is how we know that. Well, this is what. Let me see. Let me
Yeah,
think
but
of this.
Mika, this gonna lead us. This gonna lead us back down the road. I'm telling you.
Okay, well, I just want to bring the scripture because the guy was born. Let me find it because I'm trying to think, and I wasn't trying to do this today. I was so trying not to. Um, he was born. What's the word I'm looking for? He was
Come on,
born.
Stillborn.
Jermaine
No,
Jackson.
he
Click
wasn't
that,
born
Jermaine
stillborn.
Jackson. Click that link and get on the panel with us, brother. I promise, I'm a good guy. I don't have no intention of
Uh,
uh disrespect anybody like that. I just want to have a cordial conversation on the subject matter. I
I'm
see him in the
trying to
comments, and he's been here for a while. Obviously, he could talk. If you could type, you could talk. You know what I mean? We've been on this call for an hour and a half. If he could type, he could talk.
I'm trying to find this scripture, right? I can't think right now. Oh, but anyway, so let me just paraphrase. Okay, so the guy was born like crippled, lame, or whatever, right? And so one of the disciples asked, what did he do to deserve this, right? Was he a sinful person in his past life? Is that why he's being lame? Born lame? And then I believe Jesus answered and said, it was for the Most High to show his power and to give him back his you know, his strength or whatever. So sometimes things like that happen for the Most High to show his power, to show those who are believers. Now, I asked y'all earlier, why do you think that so many people are believers, right? And so for me, I was not always a believer. I was kind of like you, Melanin Gawd. And I wasn't always in, like I said, I was married. The man kept trying to get me to go to church and all this. I refused to go and everything. What made me a believer, and I'm not going to go into detail, but some miraculous things happened in my life where God showed me who he was. And so until that day happened for you, then you're going to probably be in this in this. But he did that for me. So
Mhm.
that's what a lot of people who believe, they have had that experience in their life, and it is something that cannot be explained, especially for me. It cannot be explained how it happened, but it happened, and it happened more than one time for me. So when things like that happen, you have to say, okay, hey, he proved it to me. He showed me who he was, you know. But it's unfortunate that I wish that everybody knew the experience that I had. I wish that everybody could experience this. But people like you and people like Mike and people like all of us are here to influence and to create the next person. So the reason why you became an atheist is to influence the next person, possibly to become something great. We don't know. These are just
Mhm.
possibilities. This is
Right.
variables, right? It's a variable. So that's how I see it. Now, I'm sorry what happened to your first your child in the sheds or
Well,
whatnot.
that was just one example. I mean, I can go on and on about a lot of experiences that I had that proved to me that no God existed. And then also I can also prove that we really don't even have a soul, or a spirit, so to speak. But I won't get into that on this. I won't get into that on this segment because it really ain't. This is for future shows,
Mhm.
um, and especially because I understand things on a more scientific level,
Mhm.
how I could break that down. But what I'm saying is, Mika, not to take away from you, because I have no issues with believers, right?
Um,
My whole issue is that I have issues with people to say, well, you got to believe this or else.
you don't have to believe nothing but what you want to. You send me something here, and let me see. Motherfucker.
I
Let
think
me
I
see what you
shoot. Um
The Holy Scriptures are one of the two great foundations of the faith, and here is what our church holds and teaches concerning it. The Word of God is not contained in the Bible alone, it is to be found in tradition as well. The sacred Scriptures are the written Word of God, who is the author of the Old and New Testament, containing nothing but perfect truth and faith and morals. But God's Word is not contained only in them. There is an unwritten word of God also, which called a apostolic tradition. I always said this though, because we are all living, walking Bibles. So I get that.
Well,
We are
can I ask
we
you a
are
question?
living word of God.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
That there's over 4,000 religions in the world today, right?
Uh-huh.
And so how can we be so sure that this one particular religion is the right one?
Okay, so I don't look at it as a separation. I look at it
But
as
they do teach separate things though. No, they
some
don't
some
really
people
believe.
focus on little minute things, right? But my thing is this, right? First of all, there's many different languages, there's many different people on this earth. So there's many different Bibles so that they can read it in their language. That's number one. Number two is that majority of all of these Bibles have the same story. Same story, same immaculate conception, same Messiah, same everything. But like I said, it's in many different languages because we don't all speak the same language. Sometimes I mean, look, I tell you all the time, man, to Nigerian, I can't understand half the shit he be saying. Okay.
You
So I'm just saying, I be trying. Like he be cussing me out in
sound like
Igbo.
my wife.
I'll be cussing me out in Igbo. Machana. That's all I know. That means shut the fuck up.
Nah, 'cause
That's all.
I speak 7 different languages, so a lot of times I say things and then my wife say, "Huh? Come again?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I
yeah,
start speaking
I get.
Spanish on me. Sure. That's all I can do, you know. So
I mainly speak patois though. You know what I mean?
see. So when I say that, like I don't know I only know English right now. I know a little bit of Latin because like we said, me and Mike went over this when we were talking about linguistics on the show. Y'all check out the show that me and Mike did, also the show that me and Melanin Gawd did in the past. Yeah, they're really good shows. um it's like what I get irritated with these religions about is the little small minute disagreements, like was there an immaculate conception or not, or is Esau the white man, or just these little silly things. And
Right.
we're not even focusing on the basic reason why it was written, just because like people are trying to impose their will on other people, and it's
Right.
basically
Right.
saying,
Right.
stop, don't do that, you're not supposed to do that. You're just
Right.
supposed to live a righteous life. Like you're not supposed to kill nobody, lie, lie on them, lie to them or on
I'm
them.
just saying. I'm just
Take their
saying.
wife or their husband. Why would anybody take somebody's wife or husband? You know what I'm saying? Um, it's just and these things can be looked at in nature. Like if it happened, it has a consequence to it.
Well,
What do you think gonna happen?
that's my whole point, Mika, right there. That's my whole point right there. A lot of the believers, right? They don't even consider that fact. What if God made me if there was a God, what if he made me purposely to be a non-believer? What gives you the right to take that away from me? And these people want to superimpose their beliefs on me, right? Or what if I had a different understanding of what what these things are? I mean, what gives people the right to say, well, you're gonna burn in hell for that? You know what I'm saying?
Um,
It's not right. It's not right.
The only thing that we should be judging, and we do need to judge, is right from wrong, right? So you know it's wrong to go inside someone's house
Right.
and sleep with their wife, right?
But do you need God to know that? Or should you know that just because it's morality, right?
Well,
See, I
but
was
it's
never
men that
religious
do
and I
that.
know better than that.
It's men that do that, and they think it's okay.
But I'm saying I was never religious and I know better. I would never do that to any man. I wouldn't dare try to sleep with your wife or even if he had a girlfriend, whatever. That's not my place. You know what I mean?
And just because somebody can rationalize doing something doesn't necessarily mean that they think it's okay. They can completely understand that what they're doing is wrong, but for some reason they were able to put themselves above anything else.
Okay, I get that. Some people are like that, but there's also, and I have dealt with these type of people. There are also people who have zero sense of morality. They
You're
do
right.
not
You're right.
know right from wrong. They have
Well,
was
these
not
these are
taught.
these are lunatics.
I wouldn't call them lunatics. I'm just call them unlearned. They wasn't
No,
taught.
I mean they can. It's actually saying something mentally saying off with their saying brain functions, and for them saying bloodlust is excitement because that's the only sense of empathy that they can understand.
Mhm.
So it's it's just some people that are just psychologically broken. So there's like nowhere actually around that. Those people, they more than likely they were born crazy. They did some things when they were a kid, and folks just brushed it off and tried to put it aside. But yeah, more than likely they end up growing up that way.
Mhm. Um, yeah, it's some low bottom people amongst our people that just don't have any understanding, and so I didn't want to get too much into my story, as far as God existing or non-existing, because I suffer some atrocities in my life as well. That and if you knew the things that I went through, you would think I should be an atheist, but I'm not because my mind was open to something different. You know what I'm saying? So we've all experienced some type of trauma in our life or whatever. It's just how we internalize it and what we do with it. We lost Melanin God, brother, and I see where you're coming from. I hope you can come back and join us, but it is hitting the 2 hour mark close, and I do want to close this off. I want to thank Mike for coming on, Grant for coming on, and this is a heavy hitters production right now. Even though I did play my intro, uh,
No doubt.
yeah, we're gonna have to continue this because I did want to go over some things with the scriptures, but I was not prepared for this conversation. It just came on my lap, so I was like, let's just throw it on the stream. Hold on, hold on for a second. Well, I got you on hold. Do you have any final thoughts, Mike?
Well, I just wanted to touch on some of the stuff you were talking about. It's kind of a weird scenario when you start, putting kids in the subject matter of, them being punished for doing something when they did absolutely no wrong. Um, you have a perfectly healthy adult that, that deserves that form of punishment. And, you know, I mean, take a trip up here to the children's hospital, spend time talking to some of those kids, and you see how they learn to accept what I'm saying, the circumstances of their existence. And a lot of times it doesn't involve God, and sometimes it does. But these kids, they learn to accept the form of reality that most of us can't even begin to understand. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with, having that sense of morality. And, you don't necessarily have to put, God as a placeholder in front of everything that happens, good or bad. What these kids are born with, saying some of the unique circumstances, none of them actually deserved it. They didn't ask to be a part of this existence, just like none of us asked to be a part of this existence. They were just born under the same circumstances that we happen to be part of. And, it just was unfortunate for them. I don't believe that, saying there's a God or a devil that is out there manipulating these circumstances that, saying afflict these people. It's just better if we just continue to just try to, work towards benefiting, especially people that are a victim of those circumstances.
Yeah, I see where you're going, but we gotta delve deeper into this, and I'm not gonna do it today because, like I said, this came on my desk last minute, and I'm hoping I can get Melanin Gawd back up here to give his closing statements. Let me see if I can contact the brother. Let me see. How can I contact him? Because he fell off. Maybe his phone died or something, because I know this is his show. Let me see. Let me see if I can get him.
Yeah, no, my phone was definitely down. I had to plug up.
Yeah, but we're gonna bring Melanin Gawd back, and then I do want to introduce all the heavy hitters. You guys know Mike so far, and Melanin Gawd, but I want to introduce some more of the heavy hitters, and you guys will be seeing more of them. This is Meika Wash. This is a Heavy Hitters production, and we are out of here. And I'm going to play my outro video anyway.
All right.
Bye.
Show who you are. Good Rick. Is your kid in bid the forbidden? As it was written, you overbidding. With the heathens, karma is a bitch, so how you living? Pray for my enemies, unforgiven. Cast the pearls on hog moms and chitlin'. If it's too hot, get your ass out the kitchen. Finger licking good, good looking. Stewing in the stew, I'm cooking. You psyched out, paranoid and shookin'. Shook the table, spades I'm booking. Get prepared for this ass whooping. Listen to the words being spoken. You were talking, I'm awake and woken. While I'm spitting this, got your spit, got choking. Era up, a glimpse in my world, eyes shut open. Parallel in my mind, I'm chosen. Reverse the time, heart frozen. Antarctica, cold as ice. Casted locks, rolling dice. Mean as nails, I'm nothing nice. They persecuted me like they rejected Christ.